Welcome to Full Throttle Talk, the podcast where horsepower meets conversation. From supercars to classic legends, high revving tech to motorsport mayhem, we cover it all. Straight from the driver's seat, whether you're a gearhead or racer or just love the thrill of the open road, you're in the right place. Buckle up, hit the gas, and let's go full throttle into today's episode.
So this is in my office.
We have a full throttle talk candle.
Well, this is sort of a prototype. We're going with this as a prototype because this is there. You can see that there's flame in there. Hopefully you can see that there's actual flame.
What does this smell like? New car? Is that new car smell?
Well, it's really, I'm hoping that it's going to be like, oil and grease or something along those lines. That would be fantastic in your home. However, it really is just lit because my office happens to be right outside our bathroom here. So I have to, be careful of those kinds of things.
Don't you own the company? Can't you put your office somewhere else? Like that Targa bar thing?
It's a structural thing, Casey. It's a structural thing.
No, hold on. I've been to your office, and across from your office, down the hall, away from the bathroom, is a really nice reception area.
Yeah. I remember I have to be in here for this. And then, of course, I do now have, let's see if I can get that to show, our new Full Throttle Talk t-shirts that arrived. So those are the ones that have the logos on the back. I'll pull that out. We'll fill that in some other time.
All right. Well, so in case you haven't figured it out yet, this is Full Throttle Talk, your favorite weekly automotive podcast. I'm here, of course, with Dave. I'm here with Paul, and I'm here with Casey. And we have got what probably will be one of our best podcasts ever, setting the bar super high, guys. So don't drop the ball on this one. We've had a lot of really wonderful listener feedback, a lot of comments, a lot of things we're going to share with you. Hopefully we get to all of it on the show today. So without any further delay, guys, what did you do in cars this week? Casey, do you want to start?
Yeah, I hate to tell you guys this, but I've not been doing like super fun stuff. I mean, I see the stuff that Paul and Dave have been doing, and for me, it's just kind of work stuff, which for everybody else will probably be like, wow, that's amazing. But so if you look behind me, one of my favorite cars is this really cool 1970, 73 914. I talked a client into buying this a couple of years ago. And it's a really rad car. It has steel flares. A lot of the stuff inside of it was done like a factory 914 6 GT, including chassis stiffening. But the coolest part about it is it's got a 2.7 liter redone to 2.8 liters with PMO carburetors and a hot cam. And it makes, I think, I saw the dyno, I think it was like 195, 198 to the ground, which in a car that weighs, 2,000, 2,100 pounds is about as good as it gets. And it always brings me back to the idea of, you can do all kinds of cool stuff with 911s as far as resto mods and backdating and pulling stuff out of the, out of the ether to make the car interesting. But to me, I really love hot rod old 914s. I think it's a great experience. To me, the history of the bulge fenders, in that Nürburgring race or the cars that ran and, the Monte Carlo rally and those sorts of things, I find a lot of enjoyment in that. And I'm a big 914 guy too. So I just got a little bit of the weather in Maryland's been a bit cold, but I went for a nice rip in it the other day. It has zero heat. It's got, I left the roof on and the windows up, but it was just a great sound, great experience, and super light flywheel, revs really well. Just a cool experience. So that was my week in cars.
That's awesome. I love it. Good luck topping that, guys. Paul, you're next.
Well, this was the week of still driving my BMW 1600. I drove it for 5 days last week, getting much better at driving a manual. And also went on probably a longer drive than I've normally done. Went with a group of old 911 guys, where that was the newest car, which was a original paint aubergine car. That's a 57 Speedster, 56, and it was good to finally kind of get out and drive a little bit of twisty stuff. If Tim, you're familiar with the area, just kind of went up Santiago Canyon, which is close by. It was sort of a good baby step. But what was really cool was went to Period Correct on Sunday, and SEMA was last week, which we'll get to in the next segment. But what happened was a bunch of the SEMA cars started showing up at Period Correct. I got really
Super
excited
cool.
about this. In case you'll probably recognize it's that 935 Japanese livery. And I was kind of tripping out over it. Love the flying brick. What did the wings say? Passion over hype.
Do you guys like E21s? Are you guys into
I love them.
E21s?
I think
Oh,
they're
me
Yeah.
cool.
too.
I think the E21s, I never understood this when I talked to my BMW buddies. I'm like, they love 2002s. They love E30s. They take the parts from the E21 and put it on the 2002, but they don't actually like the E21. But I think if you modify them, they look really, really bitchin'. Oh, there you go. There's your Alpina.
Yeah, well,
Um,
ours is an Alpina. It's a difference between being built by Roof and then a customer that took it to Roof to have Roof build their car. That's what
it's
that is.
fake. So it's fake.
Okay, you could say you could just say it like that, Paul, and be
No,
mean.
I'm just kidding.
What's
I'm
what's
just
up with
kidding.
Tim with the backgrounds though? Tim has backgrounds.
Oh
What's
yeah,
happening
see,
here?
Oh my
Holy
gosh, he
crap.
does. Good
So
I
notice,
what?
mean,
Dave.
So did somebody teach you
wow.
to fish?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
seriously.
So, but what was cool, like I said, was the SEMA cars were showing up, and we'll talk later about this. Bisimoto's Honda Type R. There was some 911 hot rods that were fresh out of SEMA. So yeah, it was it was a good day, good weekend of cars and coffee, seeing new stuff, and just really quickly we're scrambling to get these two cars ready, which I can't wait to. And I actually got to finally I did test drive that yellow GT3, which it felt good to start test driving cars again.
Paul,
Awesome.
do they still do that New Year's Day rally drive? You know what I'm talking about? It used to be like a crap ton of really cool cars. I don't remember.
The Jay Leno drive out in
No.
Malibu.
This they met near. Do you remember?
Oh, Crystal Cove. Yeah, they call it
No,
Tour de Orange.
it wasn't. I think it was Tour de Orange, but when we were there, they were meeting near the airport base where they used to film U.S. Top Gear.
Yes, they've moved
El
it to Crystal
Toro.
Cove. I did it
Yeah,
2 years
Casey's got it
ago.
right.
I did it 2 years ago in 67 soft window Targa, and it has gotten smaller and a little more kind of pinkies out, hoity-toity tour. So that's why I took that car because I knew it'd be kind of a chill. There was old like silver ghosts from the 20s
That's
and that
fun.
kind of stuff, which was fun to it was fun New Year's. I mean, what we used to love doing is back in the early 90s or late 90s, early 2000s, we used to go to Malibu, the Real Inn, and that was the Jay Leno one. And we would drive up Malibu Canyon and end up at this guy's house, and he restored marmots. And it was a really cool thing. But like anything else, and this is before social media, it took about 5 years to blow out of control, and then that was the end of that.
Yep.
So
How about you, David? What'd you do in cars this week?
It's been a busy week, Tim. As you can see behind me, the GT3 RS got a little run out on a damp, not rainy, thank God, but a little damp morning here to hit the Stuttgart Saturday event that they have at the one of the two Porsche dealers here in town. That was great. Some good cars that were there for part of that, including this Wild Viper, which always interesting one to see one of those, and a few other neat cars. But I did get to see a few stickers in the wild as well, which is kind of cool.
Uh,
These are local folks, but they have good taste in stickers, so you have to give them their props, of course.
I love, by the way, how you say a good taste in stickers since you did the stickers, not good taste in podcasts, but whatever. Moving on.
Well, see, it is good taste in podcasts too. And obviously, I have spent, or I should say, my lovely wife Carrie has spent countless hours stuffing envelopes
Oh, we should mention.
and
Yeah. Thanks for
getting
that tip.
labels ready. So if you haven't gotten your sticker yet for signing up for the newsletter, do not despair. It is on the way. So the newsletter, definitely sign up for that. I still have a little bit of a supply of stickers here, so we'll keep sending those out. And then on top of that, we had a great week here as well. Kind of like Paul moved a few cars. Amazingly, found a buyer for this wonderful slant nose. I found a buyer for the super little cool hot rod 912 that we had, as well as the 82 Targa. So all those cars are on their way to new homes soon. And that was my week.
I did nothing in cars this week. How about that? I just worked all week. So I got nothing to share. That's the reason I'm living vicariously through you guys every week. As Casey's fond of saying, when you live in Puerto Rico, basically you drive around the island and when you do that a couple times, then you're done. No,
That's it.
I look at my pictures of the cars in a different in the mainland, and that's about as close to it as I get. And this was one of those weeks. But hey, there they are. There's a few of them anyway. All right, so let's move on, guys. Let's talk about automotive news. And I'll start out by this one. Can one of you guys pull that up for me? I'm sorry, I didn't have the picture loaded.
Let's see.
So I thought this was
Mm.
really interesting and really telling. Nismo is coming out with a new twin cam conversion motor that you
Oh,
can.
well, how about this? That was my news story, Tim. You should have just waited for me to get to it.
Well, we'll do it together. How about this?
All right.
Casey, why don't you go ahead and do it? Because you're going to have more technical information than me.
So yeah, they built a so Dave was talking last week about how much he loves 240s, and I saw this news article come out where Nissan is building this trick. Basically, it's a 300 horsepower motor that you can shove in these cars that I think the drive's tagline was it costs as much as a Nissan Sentra, but it's super rad. It's really great to see manufacturers leaning into their history, and you kind of knew that this was coming because they do so much with the GTR. That they would probably then begin to start expanding this to some of their other ranges, so 240, 260, 280. And I think it's cool that they're doing it. So kudos to Nissan.
It is
So
amazing.
what's the pricing likely to be? I mean, is it going to be a $20,000 motor or
Probably
30?
or more.
Yeah,
I think it's
designed to
more than
drop
that.
right in.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's more than. I mean, it's what car costs 20 grand anymore? I don't think of any.
I know. It's a
Nissan
Sentra though,
Sentras.
so
A,
I
Ni-
mean, are
a
they
Yeah.
really
Nis-
that cheap? Okay.
I think a
Yep.
Versa. I think a Nissan Versa is probably in that range. So? I mean, is this Nissan's version of the Crate LS type motor? Is that kind of what they're doing?
Yeah, but I
So
mean, it's something that's never existed before because they're doing a.
It's
So pardon me for being dumb, but other than like old Alphas back in the day, like what other dual overhead cam car ran carburetors?
hmm.
uh quite alphas. That's true. Lotuses.
Okay.
yeah,
I
English,
mean,
any
Which is
Heelys or anything
like
like that?
Fords, Ford, British, UK
Yeah,
okay.
Fords.
British Fords.
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's interesting that they're doing this and it's also a six cylinder, which is super rad. So I'm stoked on it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be
It'll be
cool to drop
interesting to
into a.
see. It'll be interesting to see where they show up. Are they going to show up in like tuner cars, like high-end tuner cars, or are they going to be in, just resto mods, home done resto mods? Because I mean, the problem with that, I think, is ultimately the guy who's going to go build a 240Z hot rod. They probably are on a budget, and
I'm not sure you're right about that because there's
you
a
don't
guy
think?
that's no, I think it's just like there's an untapped market of people like Dave who have a lot of nostalgia for those cars who are gonna, when Rob started Singer, he was throwing spitballs as to whether or not anyone would buy his, car. And I bet you the Nissan and certainly with the aid of the manufacturer, they're gonna come out with all kinds of, cool Singer-esque 240s. I mean, right, Dave, what would you pay for one? Like your dream 240. It was that motor, 300 horsepower, carbon fiber body, everything done perfectly. What do you think the market value?
Well, what would I pay or what would it cost to do? I know there's a big difference. It's certainly going to cost you over $100,000 to build one. I'm not sure I'm ready to jump into $100,000
Oh, wait,
but
300,000.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
300. Yeah.
well, it just depends on the car you're starting with and what you're doing, obviously. But it could be done for that. I could do it here for that.
What's
So
a
send all
Thunderworks will
your
build
Z's to
you a
me.
carbon fiber Z for
I'm not
50
building the carbon
grand.
fiber
80,
one.
84 grand.
yeah,
83.99. And you get a
Yes,
free set of knives with it.
any
And
car, send it in.
stickers.
We'll paint it for you for sure.
it's
Oh,
stickers.
and with
Cool
every carbon
stickers.
fiber Z you buy, you get not one, but two full throttle candles.
Yes, there it is, the full throttle candle for sure.
That smell oddly like the bathroom near his office. All right.
No, they smell like the crayons from a Mark IV.
That's right. Paul, you're next.
So kind of dovetailing on to the SEMA. So SEMA just wound down, and first of all, have any of you guys been to SEMA
I've been
before?
three times.
Many times.
Okay, I've only been once. It was right after we got our dealer's license, and about a year afterwards, 2006. First thing we did was like, let's go to SEMA, and that's when you realize it's not. And that was before social media. You just realize it's not about. It's definitely a B2B event, and there's a lot of. The irony is, back then you could tell all the vendors were hiring street workers to promote their stuff, and
What do you
apparently
mean by street workers, Paul? Be
hookers.
clear.
And I think that has gone out of favor. Our detailer was there. And I would say the biggest change from what I can see from social media and talking to friends that went is if you've been before, Dave, like we were talking, like you mentioned, bro dozers and these super lifted trucks was like just nauseatingly everywhere. And I mean, that was 2005, six, all the way to probably 5 years ago. But I would say this year, or at least the last couple of years, the OEM manufacturers are getting into the game, kind of like Casey pointed out with Nissan. They're retrofitting. Like this Toyota Land Cruiser is a Toyota product from Toyota TRD, where they're basically taking a modern Toyota and putting it in an old shell. There was even down to their Camry. They're making actually performance street cars. You know, these are TRD type, not just body kits, to time attack vehicles. That was an EV time attack. Oh, this one's the EV time attack. Yeah. So, and then on just the street mods, instead of seeing brodozers, you're seeing cool old Mercedes where they're taking an old S-Class body from the early 70s and just basically putting an entire modern, I mean, I forgot what this one is. I think it's an SL65 underpinnings. So, I mean, this is a little cartoon villain looking. But
Yep.
The Joker's about to jump out of that thing.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I feel like the headlights are going to be turrets for guns. But down to this, I mean, here's the funny thing is the first gut feeling when I saw this car, Tim, was I thought of you and I thought, if I'm going to zip around and do time trials on an island, this could be the perfect time trial.
It's pretty awesome. What is
I had
it?
that same thought.
I know you did. So this car, let me zip down to what it is. Um, Hold on a second. And there was Blazers and other hot rods, but let's see. There's the thing. It's called a Troy Indy Special by 15 Motorworks, and it was an aluminum body car with a Chevy 6.2 LS V8 swap motor, 500 horsepower, nearly 500 pound-feet of torque, a Tremec Super Magnum six-speed manual. I mean, 2,200 pounds with 500 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, open wheel. Um, push rod independent suspension, six piston front brakes. The shop said they're going to be selling these for $250,000,
Not to
which
me.
even down
Die
to
real quick.
this shop was doing things. They were taking an old thing and basically kind of Meyer Manxing it with the whole Meyer Manx theme. So the general takeaway I think from SEMA was the OE manufacturers are getting into the resto mod game, whether it be for something they're going to actually sell or just promote to get people excited about the brand. I would say Toyota is really leaning into motorsports, which is weird. Nissan's nowhere to be found except for the one motor. I'm shocked that they're going to even make that. I would be surprised if that actually happens, since Nissan seems to be just dying on the vine. Honda is so late in the game with everything. I think they're finally going to try to actually make a good off-road vehicle to compete with the Toyota 4Runner. Finally, like what, 15 years late to the game. So the only thing really from Honda, and I didn't touch on, but this was to me the highlight. And I talked to Busy. If you've ever met
Tell
Busy,
them what it is. People are listening, right?
okay, it is a Honda Odyssey, a late model Honda Odyssey with one of the best Type R in Honda, sorry, Civic Type R integrations I've ever seen. And there's a video of it on my Instagram, kind of walking around it, but it looks so OEM. And if you know Bisimoto, he's the sweetest guy. He has built it like 1,000 horsepower drag minivan before. I saw it at auction, like 10 years ago, and it was kind of over the top. So this was nice to see. A lot of restraint, but here's the best part. It's a six-speed manual. It looks inside looks totally stock. The only thing you notice on the outside is the three giant like rocket launcher for exhaust, which that would be the only thing. Obviously, the stickers are for SEMA. That would come off. And actually, I think here's the thing is if this was a Toyota product, I could see Toyota maybe making some. like kind of like an AMG type partnership where you can get them through the dealer. Honda will never do this because they don't have the balls to do it, but it has a 6-speed manual. That's not realistic. But imagine one of these with a dual clutch, a really good dual clutch. That would be more
So
realistic.
it's
And
300, but it's 300 horsepower, right?
yeah, 300 horsepower.
Yeah.
It probably weighs,
I think
4,000
actually
pounds.
it's 320 horsepower if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So that's
Yeah,
still
it's
not,
it's it's
it's
not
still
going to
not
be
fast.
fast, but
Yeah.
the thing is, if you've heard that motor and the sound, and with that manual shifter, I think it takes a mundane daily activity and makes it a little bit fun.
What's the
It's
best application of a Honda Civic Type R motor other than in a Honda Civic Type R? What's the best place one of those motors ever ended up in any regular production car that you guys can think of?
there.
No,
That's probably a better fit for that car
that's probably. But what
for
would
the Indy
what
car.
what comes to mind with my question? You guys have any answers?
The best, I think, an E30 M3 or an E30 BMW case,
Dave,
like
you
a
have
case
Something
swap idea.
obviously, Tim's smiling like the cat who ate the canary. What do you got there, Tim? What's the
Ariel
story?
Atom. How can you guys not say Ariel Atom?
I
Oh,
saw one of those
oh,
the other day on the road. I didn't even know they were legal.
Yeah, I had one, of course, right? I had one until I scared the crap out of myself and then I sold it.
is
Uh,
that why you don't want one of these?
no,
The Indy car?
dude,
He
there's so
can't
many
drag
different,
his knuckles on the ground in that one because the exhaust is right there. He wants to drag his knuckles out the side.
but if you guys ever have a chance to drive an Ariel, you should definitely drive one. It's too exhilarating for my old ass, but there you go. Yeah, cool. Good. Well, so would you, those of you, Dave and Paul have been to SEMA and Jules and I have been there 3 times. Would you suggest people go just to have the
Well,
experience?
I mean, I think so. First of all, they are making it much more difficult to go unless you're in the business. I mean,
That's
they
always
don't
been the
want,
case, though. You have to know somebody.
Yeah.
you have
Or,
to, but
or
even
you
if,
know, go ahead, Paul.
I say, even if you know someone, you have to have a business card. They
Yep.
really, really want you to be in the business. And what happens is you have to be like probably one of our listeners to want to go to that kind of thing because when you get there, you realize, oh, there's like halls full of like vendors for lighting, electrical stuff,
And
stuff that would be
screws and bolts
screws.
and
Yeah, it's
so many freaking wheels. You are so sick of wheels. You don't even know how many freaking Chinese wheel companies there are until you've gone to SEMA.
but the best, I would say the best part about SEMA is you do see some cool builds and you see the manufacturers or whoever booth it is trying to outdo. And I remember my one story from the only SEMA I've been to, Bridgestone. I think it was Bridgestone was there. If you got a tattoo on a visible part of your body and it was like a 3-inch diameter tattoo, a Bridgestone tattoo, they're going to give you tires. And I thought, okay, maybe tires for life. You're going to have this tattoo for life. You get tires for life. No, it was like 3 years worth of tires. And there was a line of people to get the freaking tattoo. I was like, you guys are nuts.
It was a real tattoo.
Real tattoo. The guy's sitting there
Holy crap.
like on the raised dais, just
Oh,
Paul's like, look at this, guys. I got it.
Hold
I
on,
got
were you allowed to
three
put the
sets of
tattoo?
One on
N-spec
both arms.
REO 50A tires.
yes,
Yeah.
I could show how over time just the atrophy made it look deflated.
Do you guys have any tattoos?
No.
No,
me.
no holes, no piercings,
Paul,
no.
how can you not have any tattoos and have lived your entire life in Southern California?
There's nothing. My daughter's into tattoos. I'm not against getting a tattoo, but there's nothing that inspires me. It has to be something like I don't want someone's like get auto kennel. I'm like, why the hell would I want a business like even my business name on it? And I'm like, I have family members. I don't know. There's nothing that inspires me.
My whole back is a dragon.
Understandable.
I'm kidding. No, I don't have any tattoos.
I was picturing your whole back is the Trans Am 6.9 screaming chicken.
Exactly. Okay,
I was
moving
going
on.
to say something inappropriate. I won't.
Yes,
Oh,
do
okay.
it, Casey. We're waiting.
I was thinking like the Ferrari, like a Ferrari tramp stamp with like dragon wings coming off of the horse.
But just peeking out from the belt line.
Oh, you know
100%.
what? Casey just triggered me to think of something. I
Oh,
did
no.
have one automotive news thing happen, or what did I do in cars this week? I was offered 2 new Ferraris. Woo, right? I was offered a Purosangue and I was offered a 12 Cylindre. and those are supposed to be hard to get, whatever, whatever. And so, long story short, I passed on both of them because when you look what those things are doing in the resale market, it is scary as hell. So hard no on both of those. So that would be my only automotive thing. And I told them to find me again when they are able to offer us a 296 Pista Aperta allocation because we already declined them on the normal Pista. At some point, Ferrari's going to stop offering us cars, I have a feeling, and that's okay too.
Well, I
Uh,
feel like it's sort of like when you go to when I used to go to dealer auctions, I'd win a car, and then I'd be like, "Oh crap, what's wrong with it?" You kind of got to wonder, like, why are they offering it to me? Do you ever get that feeling? Like, they offering it to me
I
because
never get that feeling.
okay,
No, that's
I
more
know what you're talking about, Paul.
well, that's more
okay,
about Paul's deep-rooted insecurities.
it is so deep rooted.
I know, you know why they're offering you is because they want your money. That's
Yes,
why they want your money, and they think you'll
exactly.
give them the money for it.
I love how patient Dave is waiting to
I
get into
know. Okay,
his
Dave,
automotive
sorry,
news.
you're up next, brother.
I
Thank
got
you.
nothing. I mean, I just threw up this GTD behind me because I couldn't find, there's no pictures or anything else. But
What do you
the
guys think
news
of
I
that?
saw
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Dave.
had to do with Ford introducing a new sports car, road going sports car that they're supposed to introduce in January at some F1 event. So a lot of
There's no peek.
speculation
There's no
on what it
sneak
is.
peeks. No
Yeah.
No,
sneak peeks of
nothing,
it.
nothing. So people are speculating that it is potentially a replacement for the GT, like another version of the Ford GT. Um, obviously they're not going to do some variant because they describe it as an all new car. So I don't know if any of you guys have heard about this or any of our
Haven't.
listeners have heard about this, but I would sure love to know
No,
because it's coming right up. I mean, we're a couple of months away that they're going to debut this thing supposedly. So,
I
um,
mean, I heard rumblings of it and saw the little bits of news like on automotive news. I mean, if they're going to have it in January, I just picture it being like a GTD light, like sort of like all the goodies from the GTD that make the GTD good, which from what I understand is suspension is probably the big thing about that car, which they didn't do the suspension. Wasn't it Multimatic that did the suspension?
Mhm. Mhm.
So you know, and going back to your question, Tim, you mentioned what do you think of the GTD?
Mhm.
I think more of Ford, and I'm excited that Ford's doing something that the other domestic manufacturers aren't doing, which is building something exciting. You could see that Jim Farley, CEO, likes to race. He's a car guy, and it's trickling down to that. It's but it's huge, and it's heavy, and it would be great if they made something two-thirds scale. Yeah, less horsepower. I mean, really make a GT3 RS contender, not just from Nürburgring lap times, but from like the fizz, like how it feels. And I think I mentioned last time, Matt Farah did that whole driving thing, whatever, for road and track. And at the end, even though the GTD did really well and ZR1 did really well, he grabbed the keys to the Porsche to actually drive on the street and drive home, drive back to the hotel.
Did
And
you
I
guys
think
hear about the controversy that Matt got caught in over on I forget what it was, and it was a carryover from one of the topics that we had from 3 or 4 podcasts ago, where they're talking about basically our automotive journalists essentially given financial incentives, or rather, maybe not overt like that, but given disincentives to produce information that's not going to be very flowery about the product. I mean, I'm over using too many words, but the essence of it is their payola going on to get the automotive journalists to sing wax poetic. There, I said it, Paul, about cars when they're being sent to Spain and they're being sent to all these other things. And I'm still of the opinion that it's inevitable. Okay, so sorry for bringing this up. If you guys find this boring, I know for a fact that if Ferrari calls me up and they fly Julie and I to freaking Rome, Italy, or wherever, and to do a test drive in a new Ferrari, even there is nothing about that experience that I won't absolutely love and adore. And if there's any shortcomings to the car, I certainly won't notice them. So I could try to be as professional as I wanted to be, but I'm easily romanced. So for them to,
but Ferrari, if you're listening,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
Julie,
We
Dave,
have a
Dave picked
we
that
have a
up.
biased
Tim and
reviewer
Julie
ready
are
to
ready to
go.
go.
I'm ready to go. Whatever you
Bags are
want.
packed.
You can give me my script to what to say. I'm good. I'm ready to go. But I mean, it
I
is kind
can be bought.
can't we all? But that's my point, though. And he was defending the fact that it was, I forget, there was a tribe of people on one of these automotive websites that were going after automotive journalists in particular about the fact that they're providing. It's not like you guys remember back in the day when Top Gear would actually talk shit about cars. Who talks shit about cars anymore?
Oh, you remember, I mean, famously the whole Jeremy Clarkson and Tesla. I
Yeah.
mean, that was just fiery back in the day.
Well, so as far as that, do you have any, Casey? I didn't mean to. Were you going to say anything about the Ford? I didn't. Okay.
Oh,
So,
well, I will point out there was a really good Savage Geese video
oh
that
yeah.
came out recently, and we don't need to talk about it today. Maybe we can talk about it next week. But they did a driving comparison in dynos of a GTD, the new ZR1, and the GT3 RS.
He
And
said it, Paul.
I'll put it this way: the ZR1 they dynoed it, and it made like 1033 to the ground, which is insane.
So
But
that
we
would
don't
be
need it.
that would, but that
We
would be over 1,200 horsepower at the crank, correct?
it's
I mean, yeah,
math.
for that's how Chevy
Yeah.
does it. Porsche would be like 1,030 at the crank.
Yeah.
Except they don't make anything with that much horsepower because they're inferior to Corvette. So sorry, Casey.
I just thought it was an interesting video, and honestly, it was pretty eye-opening for how performance oriented that ZR1 was. The one interesting thing that they said about the GTD and the ZR1 is they're both brake-by-wire cars, which to me is really weird to even comprehend. But that really put me off on even thinking about them because I love that tactile feeling of being able to feel where your foot is. But anyway, I'd recommend everybody check out the video. Maybe we can talk about it next time.
No, it was awesome, and I proposed to talk about it today. But Paul said every time I bring up Corvettes, he hears the parent's voice from Peanuts. Wah, 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 wah. So I
Wah,
figured
wah, 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 wah,
exactly.
wah.
But I will say the new ZR1s are I think the 2026s are getting different brakes, and the brakes that they're getting are, I don't remember all the jib jab, but and I watched that too. And that, I mean, of all the YouTube channels, Casey, which is your favorite one as far as like guys that seem unbiased and providing really good drill donk content?
So I don't watch a whole lot of car reviews, to be honest with you, but Jason Camisa is probably my favorite.
Mine too.
So you guys aren't really kind of surprised and shocked and wanting to fall on your swords a little bit. The reality being that all these people that we all love and respect are essentially crowning the ZR1 the king of the hill, even of cars that are 10 times more expensive. You guys aren't really ready to admit that yet?
But as I've
No.
talked about it before, overall speed is not something that
Well,
I care about. I care like look at this 914 behind me, right? Like I would rather drive that than a brand new ZR1 or a brand new GT3 RS or a brand new Mustang GTD because it's all about the experience of feeling that in your hands and just the romance of driving. I don't need to go fast.
for sure, I agree with you. 100%. 99% of the time, that's going to be a vastly more interesting car
So,
to drive
so
than
Tim,
a ZR1.
why don't you sell your Ferrari and get a ZR1?
I'm not good at the or part of the conversation. I've never done good with ors. That's the reason we have too many cars. So I am probably going to get a ZR1. Honestly, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait in the tall grass to see what they do with production, and I'm probably am going to get one because I truthfully. So I think it was on that video, Casey. You might remember better than me. To answer my own question, by the way, I think those guys do the best job, and then Jason's right up there. But those guys do a really fantastic job interviewing engineers, and they actually know their shit, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
But as far as the ZR1 goes, the thing that nobody is talking about, or at least not talking about with the respect that those cars deserve, is what they're doing on the track. And there was Casey, was it that video? It was, wasn't it? Where they had an actual pro driver that was driving the ZR1 on that same day, same track against the RS, the GT3 RS, and against the GTD. And it was like significant. It was 2 seconds faster than the GT3 RS.
Yeah, I mean, so it was roughly 2 seconds faster than the GT3 RS and roughly 3 seconds faster than the GTD. But to me, the fact that the Porsche does it within 2 seconds with, call it, I think they said it made like 460 to the ground versus 1,033 to the ground. And of course, I know the Porsche is more expensive and all those things, but making use of power. I mean, I'm not making excuses, right? It certainly had a faster lap time. I understand that. But the fact that Porsche is able to do that and provide repeatable numbers and all that stuff, you know, with less than half the horsepower, to me is pretty awesome. And you can't fake weight. I mean, they talked about how heavy the other cars felt. I think the Corvette was 600 pounds heavier, and I think the Mustang was almost 1,200 pounds heavier than the Porsche.
They're
So,
big
Wow.
girls. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
amazing.
I don't know. I don't need to wax on it, but everybody go watch the video and
Yep. Agreed.
smash that like button, post a comment. Boy,
I mean,
sorry, I'm on
you know what
medication
the
today.
most
Why,
the
what will
thing
you
I'm
have?
most excited about a ZR1, the most excited is for you, Tim, to get one. And then there's going to be this slow trickle from Amazon of your starter kit. Like one day, some jorts will show up in the mail, and then the next day, some calf socks, and then the New Balances will show up. You know, the Corvette hat. You know, I live in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I mean, it's just going to be fun to watch. We can outfit you. You will be set, and everyone on the island will go, Tim, he's the Corvette guy.
Oh, I'd never have
And
that car here.
the
Never, never,
return
never.
address will be Paul Kramer, of course, right? So
Of course.
the
No, that,
it'll all be coming from Amazon via Paul.
but Dave, since you're the only one here with a full operating brain, would you agree that the ZR1 in in the realm in the North Carolina roads and whatnot, the ZR1 and the GT3 RS, granted they're both a little wide for some of the roads, especially the ones going to like Highlands and whatnot, but come on, what the hell are you, how can you do those? That's just, those are ideal cars. I agree with you,
Well,
Casey,
I
that
think
those are too
they're
slow.
definitely fun cars, and I'm not disagreeing with either Paul or Casey on this because I think now having driven the GT3 RS around a little bit, it's just a different experience. It's different tickets at Disneyland, right? I mean, that's kind of the way to describe
Yep.
it, and I like all the tickets. So, I'm curious as well as to what the future is on cars like this in terms of where will the value propositions stay on the ZR1 and the GTD after, let's say, a year from now, right? Is the GTD going to fall? Because those things are trading in GT3 RS land right now too, 400 grand or
They won't
whatever. I mean,
they won't
it's
fall
what's
as hard
possible
as
to buy one.
the ZR1 because they can't make as many. Aren't they losing money on every single one they make? So it's going to be like the Ford GT. I think they'll always have a value just based on production. And Corvette is, this is what makes Corvette is they democratize everything and they're just going to make as many chips as people will eat. And they will just
Yep.
keep building them and there'll be plenty of options for everyone to have a one of one 45,000 one of one Corvette ZR1s. I mean, obviously they won't make
It'll be
that many.
interesting to your point when we first started this conversation about Ford as to whether or not, like you're suggesting, that this new model will effectively be a Mustang that's, just dumbed down a little bit to make it more accessible to the masses price wise, right? Is that what they do with this car?
That's what
Um,
I think because that's the only way they can make money. They're going to try to make it productionable, which means I imagine they get a version of this that's maybe 120 grand. It'll be cheaper than the Corvette. It will perform less than the Corvette, but it'll be attainable. And maybe it'll
mhm.
be like the new Mustang Cobra R, like the latest version, or I haven't kept up with those. But in the end, I'm excited that they're all doing it. I mean, we're living in the most horsepower time of
Thank
our
God.
lives. And you sort of wonder, like, 5 years ago, we thought that was it. And then when the C7 ZR1 came out, which was absolutely ludicrous, like that is like no one's going to go do
Okay.
anything as stupid.
So moving us forward, and so can you guys all at the count of three give me a good eye roll before I say what I'm about to say? One, two, three, eye roll. Okay, there you go. All right, have you guys heard about have you been hearing that they're going to supposedly finally release the Tesla Roadster this year? And there's going to be pictures, whole design things. Elon talked about it on Joe Rogan's podcast. But here's the thing that's crazy. Supposedly, it's going to have rocket boosters that causes the car to levitate.
Can we please
Discuss.
move on?
It's just he's white. It's all white noise. It's
That's
all
bullshit.
white noise.
That's
I don't even care. I don't like
rocket boosters. Give me a break. What are one-time use?
Sonderworks built me a car with rocket boosters. All right, let's
Yeah.
move on. Come on.
Yep,
Nobody
we're
cares
good.
about this fake news.
No
Let's
more
go.
even. Yeah, we're
Well,
doing.
I don't think it is fake news. I think it's real news, but I'm not sure. Again, it's well, we are just talking about the ZR1, and I don't like electric cars either. But there is a definite interesting turn in the road that we should be aware of. That there's going to be some things coming around in the next year that are going to really make the fast cars today not seem so fast. And Casey, I'm right in alignment with you. I love the 1954 Triumph TR2. I got so much pleasure and enjoyment out of that. I honestly do believe that there's diminishing returns in driving an ever more fast freaking car. It's
Mhm.
nauseating. I mean, if you feel like you're going to barf as the driver, no bueno. All
Yeah,
right.
but a buddy of mine, we're real quick. A buddy of mine was in a one of those new M5 Tourings the other day, and he drives fast cars, and he basically told me that it felt Taycan Turbo S fast. And from coming from him, that's really says something. He actually said the dynamics on the car are really good too. So I'm excited to get some seat time in one of those coming up.
Segment three, and this is something that I think Kramer thought of. I could have had a V12. How can you claim to be a car guy if you've never owned a V12? Everyone should own a V12 once in their life. You gave Jason Camisa credit for that, but a lot of people said that, and it's definitely true. Why compromise and buy yet another 911, be it a GT3 Touring or RS or a GT2, if you rarely do canyons or track days for less than $600,000? What are your two? You didn't do it. What are your two V12 alternatives? Has to be a V12 or a flat 12, no W12s, one modern and one advantage. Think of it as a perfect two-car V12 garage solution.
And
Who
by
was
the way, we this could be done on 400,000. If it
It could be done on
easily
a
could be
lot
done on
less than that.
400,000. Yeah.
You're just
Just
saying that because your first suggested idea was a 750 IL, which tells me you have no experience with those cars.
no, but
I,
if
I,
you
I
get
just
the
think it's a great
nicest one
car.
and rebuild it, it would be bitching.
So you get to go last, Paul. All right, Dave, you go first. What are your two
Uh,
V12? What are your two 12
Okay.
cylinders? Are you
I
doing
will
good,
start with
Casey?
the
Are you good, Casey? Okay, go ahead.
modern car first. So in this case, I think I'm just taking a slightly more modern version of the car that Casey may have eyeballed as well. But this is a 2023 Aston Martin Vantage V12. I think this particular one had under 300,000, excuse me, 300 miles on it. So it's effectively a brand new car that's 2 years old or soon to be 3 years old. Did not make reserve when someone tried to sell it on BAT. It hit about 235 grand. But this was a car. I mean, it's an effectively brand new car that somebody held. It's over $300,000 new. And unfortunately, like so many Astons, this one with no usage still shit the bed. So great looking car. I mean, I think the car is just an absolute stunner. It's gorgeous. It's V12 powered, obviously. I'm sure the specs are unbelievable, fantastic. The interior, I don't have a picture of the interior on this one, but there's a picture of that fine 5.2 liter V12 motor. Um,
So that's
that would
300.
be
Let me just repeat what you said. You said 300 miles. It's
300
three.
miles.
It's 3 years, and that car didn't sell it for two. The seller didn't sell it for two low 200s.
Correct.
So they're
Wow.
I
taking
think
it.
they were looking at 250. People on the thread suggested this was probably a 250 car, but I mean it's effectively a brand new car, and I doubt it's very different from the 25. Um, Cool car, great car. This is one of those cases where I'm throwing something in here because you guys insisted on this whole 12 cylinder thing. So there's
Yeah.
one,
That
and
is
that
awesome, though. That's a good choice.
it's a great
Have you?
car. Now it is an automatic. They didn't make a manual in this car.
See that was a good choice, Dave. But if you would have stuck with an 18, which I don't think was worth the technology difference,
Manual.
V12 manual, like there's so few options for a V12 manual. And by the way, that car, the Diablo behind you, if I had to say what 12 cylinder is all about Dave Van Epps, that is a Diablo. Like I totally peg you as a Diablo guy.
Oh yeah, you can see me getting out of this, right, Paul?
Oh
As I'm
gosh, gold
literally
chains and all.
rolling out of the car trying to climb over the sill to get out of this thing.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you that I do. I do have a little bit of a soft spot. If somebody forced me with a gun to have a Lamborghini, this might be the one I would probably get. It's always got a little bit more refinement than the Countach. I've always thought this car looked just a little bit more put together than the Countach, which always felt to me like there was a few angles on the Countach that just didn't fit in the design. But this car, I think they smoothed out a few lines. They did a few things that made it a really sweet looking car. Obviously, the interior is pretty, pedestrian, so to speak, by modern standards. But it's a
You don't want
sweet
to you don't
car.
want a Ferrari, Dave? No Ferrari?
I, I believe I said in my notes that it's because I would absolutely not buy any Ferrari. So I had to have something with a V12. So I went with the Lamborghini.
So
Now, that's
let me ask you
only
a
just to
question.
poke at Tim a little bit. I have no
It's fine.
real issues with Ferrari.
Let me ask you questions about that. First of all, have you seen a Diablo GT ever in real life? The GT
Probably
version?
not.
You should check
Probably,
it. You should look at pictures of that car. One of the coolest looking freaking cars you've ever seen, the Diablo GT. But I'll say this as well. I have two friends that collect those V12 Lamborghinis, and the increase in value, call it inflation, call it appreciation, of those cars over the last 18 months is amazing. So if there's going to be a runaway appreciating asset in a car as much as it can be an asset, I don't, that's debatable, but those are it. So I think that those are actually fantastic choices. So go you. That's a high
thank you.
bar.
Thank you.
Dave, if you want to come up, I look after two Diablos, a
Oh,
92 and a 99. You are more than welcome to come up and go for a drive.
oh, beautiful. Casey, what do you think of them? Do you get to drive them much?
I do. The 92 is interesting. It is basically, to me, it feels like a continuation of a Countach. It's very manual. There's no power steering. There is the clutch is super stiff, like the stiffest clutch you've ever felt. And the other one I look after is a 1999. That car is a lot more usable. It's got a power assisted clutch, power steering.
Is that
It's
Audi
just
era? Is that
no,
Audi era?
it's right at the end.
Okay.
That car is also awesome. It's a Momo edition, so it has it's yellow and red. I'll get some pictures of it for the next
Cool.
podcast, but it
That'd be
also
cool.
came with a leather yellow and red Momo jacket and driving
Oh,
gloves. It's awesome.
So
So
that
man,
anyway,
that sounds like you'd like that.
so the
Yeah.
Diablo is how much, Dave?
This was the Diablo was only 266. This one
Did it
had
sell?
8,000 miles on it.
Did it sell?
Let me double check that. I thought it did. Let me just look real quick because I have a link right
Like,
here.
I mean, again,
Yep, it
Ben,
sold for 266, and that was back in September that this car sold for 266.
what do you guys think about that car for 266? What
Um, I think I think that like Casey said, the early ones aren't necessarily as desirable because they're Countach continuations. And I don't know enough about them, but I think as you get to either like the GT, which are really special, or you get to the Audi era ones where they refined them and made them almost,
car
like
like?
the Diablo's kind of like the middle kid on Brady Bunch, like Jane. Like in the beginning, she's kind of
Jan,
like
Jan.
Countach, and then towards the end, she's kind of like precursor to Murcielago. And because during that period, the 90s didn't Lamborghini go through like three different owners, like all these different owners, and the Diablo just kept on getting like changed from one manufacturer to another. So I
But
just think it's
for that
for that
car,
money,
I mean, that seems like a really, honestly, that's kind of
it is. If you
badass
It'd
want,
be it'd be a nice piece to have in a collection for sure. It
for
really would.
sure. Yeah,
I
that'd be a,
mean, the problem I have is I would go buy world's best Espada for that.
well, I mean, but as far as experienced cars, what Casey was leading into earlier with that 914.6, that's
Yeah,
a really, in a world where everything's starting to kind of feel the same and look the
yeah,
same, smell the same, that's going to be a unique
yeah.
experience. So far, Dave set the bar high. Casey, you get to go next.
So Dave's kind of stole one of mine, and I'm going to blame him for it. So I did a little bit of a pivot. Manual transmission V12 Vantage, I think, is a super rad car. The car behind me, I deleted it because I saw that Dave picked one as
I
well.
I
But
actually I had picked that car too, Casey. That exact car.
so, so
That's the car that Dave should have picked. Is the
yeah,
one you.
so it's a super rad car. But being that Dave picked it, I had to pivot. So
And by the way,
Car
for the
number
listeners, Casey picked the manual transmission of what Dave picked,
Thank you,
basically.
Paul.
Yeah, so and I honestly think that aesthetically, like to me, that is a beautiful car. When Aston Martin started rounding edges and stuff like that, I kind of grew away from it in the Vantage platform. But anyway, I digress. So car number one is a 1992 Alpina B12 5-liter coupe. I think BMW 850s are super cool cars. I love Alpinas. We need to have an like an Alpina section because I do think that they're super rad. This particular car is they made 97 of them. This car sold on Bring a Trailer for $96,000. It had a ton of miles on it, but it's super cool and beautiful. And then I'd use the rest of it of the 600 grand to buy a 1999 Mercedes-Benz SL73. For those of you that are not familiar, this is the car that Pagani took the motor from for the Zonda. And I think that R129 SL is a super cool car. Aesthetically, I think it's stunning. And that engine, I think, is insane. And if I'm not going to pick a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, I guess I got to pick a BMW and a Mercedes.
So,
So,
Casey,
so
which one of those in your mind is the modern car? Out of curiosity.
Well, the modern car was the Aston Martin, but Dave
Oh,
screwed up. Dave screwed
okay.
me up, so I had to pivot last minute this morning.
so
Um,
the game, Casey, is to get your answers in the spreadsheet first, and that way, basically, you can pick all the coolest answers.
I was ahead
He
of
was
Dave.
first.
Thank you very much. And
He,
then
he was
Dave picked
first. He
that,
was
and then
first.
I figured that I'm have to be my role in this podcast is a contrarian. So I don't listen to any of the instructions that I am given, and I always have to pick weird shit. So
So I want to
there you
talk about
go.
his two choices because those are freaking awesome, freaking unbelievably
Yep.
cool cars. I mean, just honestly, both of those are awesome. What do you think, Paul?
Well, what is the combined value of those cars?
So the 1999 SL73 did not sell at 420,000
Wait,
euros.
Hold
for
on. What was the
that, wait,
budget?
hold on. What? It looks like a stock R129 with AMG monoblocks, right? Is there
Uh-huh.
visually anything different about that car? Maybe rockers, maybe different rockers?
No.
Badges, some
I mean, who
bullshit.
knows? It's the front bumper looks a little different.
Okay, so now I'm shocked because I'm looking at like Dave, we both thought, okay,
That was a hundred
one's a
thousand dollar
hundred, the other
car.
one's 100, 200 grand,
Guys, you
and I was
guys know
gonna go, Tim,
do you
look,
guys
you
know
could
what
do a garage for 200 grand.
but do you guys know what that thing is though,
No,
honestly?
have no idea.
No, but seriously, joking aside, have you ever heard of that before, Paul?
No, I
It's like I mean, other than like an AMG Hammer, like this is, and like CLK GTR, like this is like peak Mercedes AMG. This
Especially in
is
that
the
generation of cars too. That's when they were still like the best built Mercedes. After that, bleh. But yeah, and
so
that motor.
so and by the way, just a little teaser for next week. For lunch today, my client recently acquired a true pre-merger AMG Hammer 300 CE body coupe from the 80s, and
Wow,
I'm driving it to lunch today. And
Oh,
and so
fun.
you'll see pictures if he lets me post them and stuff next week. So I've never
so
driven a real true AMG pre-merger Hammer.
but
So I'm
so
excited.
Paul, I will invite you if you want to drive the only two-door manual transmission AMG Hammer built. You can come out and go for a drive whenever you want.
that's
Oh,
incredible.
And I'll take the Diablo as well. So we'll
Casey's
be
life.
we'll be ripping it around here.
Casey likes to do a back kick right in the back of your head, just to
Yeah,
kind
just
Like I
just when
said,
you're
I'm on
like on the
meds
way out the
today.
door, he just
I'm on
gives you
meds
one
today.
big shove in the back.
of, bye bye.
Bye-bye.
No, those are, so what would you guys choose? Honestly, I mean, it's not a choice thing, but I think that's again, you guys,
Mercedes. I mean,
um,
I've driven
really?
I've not driven the Alpina version of the 850s, but I've driven the 850 CSIs, and even like Jason talks about in the video, they're beautiful and there's just this underwhelming nature. They look so good. They sound good. Everything about them is great, but when you drive them, and yes, they're 90s cars and they're GT cars, it's not about dynamic performance, but they just feel like BMW was so afraid to be angry and outrageous that they just muted the whole car, and that's kind of the bad thing about it. Whereas I think AMG not knowing nothing about the R129 that Casey talked about, but AMG in this period was the beginning of just getting rowdy. I mean, like we're gonna build pace cars that are
But
louder than the F1 cars.
this is even special. So Casey, I'm sorry if I'm asking you something you don't know, but am I correct that that was a Mercedes product, not an AMG product?
Yeah, I mean, Mercedes bought AMG,
No, I
so like
understand,
in
but
yeah,
it
so
wasn't, yeah, what it was a stand, it wasn't, an
no,
AMG.
it was a Mercedes product.
How
Yeah,
many of those do they
exactly.
make?
None.
One?
Let me look at this.
No, they made a lot, but there were,
No,
mostly
no,
in
but did it
Europe.
this whatever? What is it called? SL75? What's the name of it?
73.
73?
Yeah, and if you guys can find, and if listeners, sorry if we're talking too long about this old Benz, but you've got to go on YouTube and listen to what those things sound like when they put tuned exhausts on them,
Oh yeah.
because
So
oh my God.
so I'm reading now, and it says, I pardon my ignorance regarding this. I am definitely not super
I'm
aware.
looking at
The
it
car
also.
started as a SL600, and then it was fitted with the following components: an AMG engine. So maybe this is something else, and
No,
people
I'm
are
looking
probably
at it
screaming
too.
at this Porsche guy doesn't know anything about Mercedes. Yeah, you
Well,
know
I
I
mean,
don't.
you're the world's expert on 997s. One wouldn't expect you to
Yeah.
be the world's expert on a
Yeah,
V12 Mercedes.
so it started as an SL600, and then it looks like AMG or that division of Mercedes converted it to a 7.3 liter with all that
And
stuff.
Tim, they
Anyway,
made roughly, they can't figure it out, 40, 50 to 80, 85 units.
For sure,
So
and yeah, we've talked too much about this. Casey, you
yeah,
keep on coming up with all these awesome things to talk about, and us old nerds are just going to geek out for hours if we don't stop
yep.
ourselves. That's my
okay,
job.
I'm
Kill the
done.
fun.
I'd pick the Alpina because I think Alpinas are super rad, and we need to have an Alpina conversation next time.
I agree. You
I
actually have
agree.
another okay, so okay, I got to write this shit down or I'll forget. All right, so first of all, that Alpina in particular, because I believe that's henna red, was gorgeous. All right, Alpina, and then we were also going to talk about ZR1s.
Oh. Just let me know which week I should be sick.
Never. All right, I'll go next if you guys don't mind. Can one of you guys help me with my pictures? I'm sorry I didn't save these. All right, we're gonna start.
Oh,
Okay, we can start
Okay,
with that one. And
that was the
actually,
car. That was the car you picked. It should be this one, but we'll get to that.
yes,
okay, can
I
you?
agree with Paul.
But okay, so going with my vintage, it's a 512 TR and a manual transmission. Or Paul, can you pull up the other one I put up, which was the 83 512 BBI?
Oh, I thought you had the person the
No, no,
person
that's my
wave, and
modern one.
I refused to pull that up.
That's my modern one. I know, I agree, but that's the
All right,
modern one. So as far as my
I'll get the other one.
thank you. So as far as the vintage goes, it would be a Ferrari, it would be a flat 12, it would be either a Testarossa with a manual transmission, or it would be a early 80s 512 BBI. And both basically the 512, if you guys don't know, is the car that spawned arguably it's the first modern Ferrari supercar. And guys that are building collections always start with those cars. But if I, that's my vintage selection. And as far
I,
as, go ahead, there you go. What do you
I mean,
guys
do
think?
you know the trivia with what BB stands for?
No,
Berlinetta
I don't
Boxer, isn't
remember.
it?
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, technically Berlinetta Boxer, but I forgot. And this, I'm probably screwing this up, but it was urban myth. The designer, someone at Ferrari, was just infatuated with Brigitte Bardot. Just forgot her name in that period, and really, it was an homage, like a tribute to her, or like a love letter to her,
Richard
and that's
Bardot.
yeah, Brigitte Bardot. Sorry,
But
and
both of those cars, now that we can pull ourselves out of the 1950s, Paul, both of those cars with our movie history are in the low 200s. All right.
okay, but this is the one you should have picked instead of the
Yeah.
512 TR. And by the way,
Um,
all 512s came with manual transmissions, but this was no, Casey helped me out with this one. Plus, it was white on white cocaine, which I thought would look really good in Puerto Rico.
Well, isn't that a 512 TR? The
Yeah,
other
sorry,
one was
that's
a
a 512.
Testarossa.
That's a 512 TR, and this, what was this
Those
one
are
you
both
picked?
I
Testarossas.
think
That's a Testarossa.
all Testarossas came in manual, and that's the
Yeah.
one that's in the low 200s. And I'm not sure you're right that all 512 all 512s, shit. The newer iteration of that. I think you could get that in the original F1 transmissions, but I could be wrong.
I don't
Yeah,
think so. I think they're all sticks.
I
Okay.
agree.
Yep. But no, so I'm sorry, I keep
No, no.
interrupting. I
Casey,
think
I'm curious. What would you, you're a
so. Have you
connoisseur.
ever driven a Testarossa?
I have.
What were your
No, I have
thoughts?
not. I have not.
So I'm not tall. I'm 5'9", so I fit fine.
I
Uh,
fit okay. Yeah.
my feet were uncomfortable because your feet are kind of on those cars from that vintage are off to the right. The steering wheel is dead center, feet are off to the right. So as far as like an experience, it was an experience. As far as the noise, wasn't really impressed. As far as the looks, did I buy it is the question. The answer is no.
Yeah, they drive it's like an early Diablo. That it's a very odd, very interesting sense of occasion once you're in the car. It's got the multiple moving seat belt things in it. That's kind of interesting. The 512 TR refined a significant amount of all of the stuff that they kind of got wrong in the Testarossa. Being that I'm an outrun guy, I really have always loved the Testarossa, including the convertible one. But there's an interesting YouTube channel. We were talking about YouTube channels, but this guy Radarosa, he's in England, but basically he does restoration work on Ferraris. Give him a look because he did a really good video series on his BBI. And he also has, of course, like a fake convertible test. Well, it's not fake, but the Radarosa is a convertible Testarossa that I know it's been to Radwood and those kind of things. But both interesting. That's an interesting choice. I think I like the BBI better personally.
So my other car, which you guys don't need to show a picture of, is the Pura So the Pura if you choose the base price, which you can't really get one for a base price, plus one of the 512 or the TR, it fits within our budget. And I agree with you, Casey. I would choose that one too. What do you think, Paul?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was on a drive on Highway 1 behind my friend and his BB with open exhaust, no, just headers. I mean, I don't know how he drives that, but just for the half hour driving down Highway 1, it was an early COVID when Highway 1 was still open and no one was on it. And just listening to that 12-cylinder open pipes, I felt like I was at Monaco, in early 70s watching a race. It was
Oh,
awesome.
we didn't do watches, by the way. We need to throw that in because I wear my Monaco. So but the demure size of cars from that early 80s generation, I'm all in. Dave, what do you think between the two, my two sort
I
of,
like of those two. I like the BBI better.
huh?
To me, it has a combination look that pulled from Daytona, as well as 308, 328. It just kind of carries on, which is the first of those generations that I really did like. Those early cars. So that's why I would pick that one.
Cool. All right, Paul, you're next. What do you got?
Okay, so for those who know me, I have a 99 BMW M Coupe that I raced. I've owned it since new. It's my longest relationship of anything that I'm not sharing blood with. And when I saw this come out between Jeremy Clarkson's review on Top Gear and the ice with it, I fell in love with this car. Now it's the Ferrari FF, and I know they then did some changes and came out with the Lusso. I like the FF better. I think the FF visually will age. Yes, the Lusso's technology better, but when these become 20-year-old cars, I think the FF is going to have value. They actually had some cool colors like this color green. I'm kind of bummed because there was about 3 years ago, 110 to 115 would buy you a car like this. Now this car, or one like it, a green FF recently with 42,000 miles sold for $143,000. And by the way, 42,000 miles on an like if that was most any other Ferrari, that would be crazy high miles. For an FF, that's like average. These cars were so many people's daily drivers. The only thing bad about them is if you pull up a side elevation, they just look like that Beetlejuice character where he stretches his face really long. They just look long. But check out an FF, or this is actually a Lusso, as a rally car.
Yeah, I saw
How
that at SEMA. That looked really cool.
how cool
That's
is
pretty sweet.
that? I mean, I am all about that. So I will, for the first few years, daily drive it, kitty car, whatever, and then boom, we're going safari. So you can get an FF for you can find a really not great color, kind of tired one for low 100s, 115, 120. And you can find something like that green one, cool color for one. That one sold, um, gosh, a week ago for 143 plus fees, so 150. And then one of my favorite cars, which also
Have you driven a Lusso or an FF, Paul?
an Aluso, I drove it for a quarter mile on a rally. I'll post pictures. I absolutely hate driving other people's cars, especially on a rally. We were on a DWA rally and there was an accident. We were waiting for it to get cleaned up. These really sweet couple were there with a white Lusso. There was, I don't know, 2018, 19, whatever it was. And the lady's talking to my dad, and my dad tells her how much I love those cars. And she's like, and he's trying, they're both trying to convince me to drive it. I'm like, I don't want to drive it. I go, I'm on a rally. I don't want to drive anyone's car. Like, I'll test drive it at my home.
So once for a short distance.
Yeah, so I get in the car and I drive a quarter mile and it's on a kind of a crappy road and I guess a little rock hit the sidewall. Instant flat tire. I spent 5.5 hours roadside waiting to get that car flatbedded. Rally day done. I was so freaking
The
pissed.
Porsche gods were telling you something right
I
there,
knew it.
man.
And I knew it.
Actually, I didn't
You know
ask.
I haven't really driven it.
So have you guys ever driven an FF or a Lusso?
No, what are they like?
I had a Lusso and it feels like a big GT car that is a very, it feels exactly like what you expect it to feel like. It's not particularly surprising as far as the overall experience. So it's honestly, it's a great daily driver, but for the same amount of money or a lot less, there are a lot of other better alternatives. And that's what the
No.
market said too with those cars.
Did
That's
you have
that's see,
a
that's why I like it. I like the weird, ugly, strange, and to
No, this was
me,
an era, Paul. This was an era back in the day where what those cars cost and what they
oh
were
yeah.
doing in terms of depreciation. There were cars that arguably, like, we had one for a very short period of time on our trip to getting the Pista. And yeah, I mean, it was just, it was what it was. I mean, Julie preferred her Lincoln Navigator over that thing. She could choose either one. And she had a vintage low miles 560 SL, and she would always drive the freaking Navigator. Casey, I'm sorry.
did you have a V8 rear drive or did you have a V12 four-wheel drive?
V12. I had to
Lusso.
remember.
Yeah. No, because they did make some
They did.
V8 rear drive cars, which I think would be kind of because the issue with those cars, from what I recall, especially in the FF, is the front differential, I think, goes bad. I think from Ferrari, they're super expensive. There's a company in England that rebuilds them, I think, for like 20 or $30,000.
Can you do a conversion like the 996 turbos where you
Like a
just
rear wheel drive.
No idea.
yeah.
No
All right,
idea.
Paul, what
Yeah, you
was your
just
other
unbolt the
car?
front axles, you're good.
So, and this is a car that kind of like, this is another Ferrari, a vintage Ferrari. It is a sorry about that. It's a 1972 365 GTC 4. This one is kind of a light blue, metallic. I think they look really good in light blue. And if you notice something about them, these are the ones that had the big rubber fish lips for a bumper that kind of went all the way around. And this is the cool look and most people are doing this now is they're painting that front rubber lip. I'm not sure how well the paint holds. Dave, imagine painting a
Mm.
50-year-old rubber lip, or maybe it's a fiberglass replacement. But the thing about these cars, it's the 2+2 version of the Daytona. And although I have not driven one, it's weird with Ferraris. If you take a 12-cylinder two-door Ferrari and you put back seats in it, even though the back seats are completely useless, the value drops by like 75%. And what's unique about this car compared to the Daytona is like a truck. These are transaxle cars. They're supposed to be, I think they might even have power steering. They're actually really, really nice to drive, basically the same engine. You can get these for anywhere. This one bid in February of this year to 190,000 on Bring a Trailer. These basically this is, you can get anywhere from 200 to 250 depending on color and condition. And I just think, they're kind of similar. I like that look, that long front end and that short rear end look. The only thing about the C, they call them C4s, is the back end has triple lights and it looks a little,
So
Corvette.
when you guys gonna get your V12s? You were all so I had one V12, or I mean we had again for maybe 6 months a 550, and we had an Aventador, right? So we had those are the car. Oh, and then we had that Lusso, right? But
This would be the FF would be the closest thing to a V12 I would get today. The Mercedes, all those, or the 750 IL, I kind of dig, but this would have to be like a
An
client brings me,
E38, baby.
yeah,
E38 all the way.
E38. This would be a client brings me, one that they've maintained forever. They put stupid money into it. It's worth because you can get just a decent driver 750 IL for probably mid
do
20s.
you know about the motors and the electronics in those cars?
Oh, I
Honestly,
know that I have a 928. Yes,
Okay,
they're all shit.
they're two six-cylinder BMW motors, which
Yes.
basically have all the double sets of all the electronics to
Yes.
run. Yeah, and they always break, and they
So
break
so it's
period.
but it's it's 25 grand, but you just budget 50 and that'll get you for the
Every
first
year.
3 years.
All right, I think we got to everyone on that. Oh, so let's do, forgot, sorry. Full Throttle Talk newsletter. So if you subscribe to Full Throttle Talk newsletter, it costs you nothing. And it is, I think, when we all the, by the way, guys, we need to start working our Full Throttle Talk private Facebook group too. Joshua lied, he yelled at us basically, for not posting there more frequently. So we got to follow up on that. But listen, if you want the Full Throttle Talk newsletter, it's free. The subscription is free. Just go to fullthrottletalk.com or click the link below. And when you do, you are going to receive from Mr. Ben Epps a lovely Full Throttle Talk window sticker. So do not delay. The subscription is obviously free. It's not just the podcasts and our notes, but it's also a lot of really great articles that we are submitting and having a lot of fun. Paul, you had some really killer articles in there recently, and I actually a good time to mention if you want to submit articles to our newsletter and you think our folks would be interested, then definitely send them over to us. Message us over on Instagram. Just send me a direct message, and if we'll help you tee up your content and put it in a newsletter. All right, good. Are you guys ready to move on?
Oh yeah.
All right. So let's talk about this one. This is something everyone's talking about. I'm not sure if you guys are going to give me a lukewarm, response to this. But segment 4, Porsche 911 turbos for those who don't want to spend new turbo money. Fun facts: the new flagship Halo 911 Turbo S is also the fastest depreciating 911. I think it's always been true. Are there bargains hiding in the 911 Turbo back catalog that offer tremendous value given the fact that the new Turbo S manufactured, the base price is 300 grand? What do you think, Casey? Out the door with options, 350 probably?
I haven't built a new one, but I know they're really expensive. That's for sure.
Yep. And so let's talk about it. Let's discuss what would be the back catalog alternatives if you didn't want to, shovel out 350 grand.
I mean, I think with turbos, it's you always go back two full gen, like two, well, let's see, 3 generations. So right now we have the 992.2 that just came out, that's 350 or more. There's the 992.1, skip that one. There's the 991.2, skip that one. And boom, you get to the 991.1. So what I have found with turbos is when they become roughly 10 to 15-year-old cars, that is the ultimate sweet spot because no one cares. And these cars are ridiculously fast. I mean, this one here behind, I sold it to a good friend of ours in Scottsdale when it was cheap. This was a paint to sample oak green metallic
That's
Turbo
gorgeous.
S. It was beautiful. I mean, I think at the time, this car window stickered in 2000. It's a 14, first year of the Turbo S 991.1. I want to say it window stickered for like 210, 205. It was a high, which was crazy money. It was highly optioned. I think the average was probably like 185. You can get these cars now I mean, for a while they were in the 115, 120s. Now they're probably in the creeping up to 135, 140s. And I think the creep up isn't because people have found magic value. I think what's happened is just cost of the new ones is trickling down. Tariffs, inflation has just made these things a little more expensive, but they're not going up, in my opinion, based on people think they're collectible. And they are. I drove this one to Cars and Coffee when I had it for sale, and it was like 2017. I remember getting on the freeway, and it's just early in the morning, and I'm just cruising. And I remember thinking to myself, I was so annoyed. Everyone I was like, why is everyone doing a parade on the 55 freeway? I'm doing 115. Like
Whoa.
Allegedly.
benign, benign. Like
Allegedly.
it's statute of limitations, allegedly. But it was just it felt like completely like floating. I mean, I almost could get out and walk, and I remember being so annoyed until I looked at the speedometer. So awesome vehicles, and Dave, take it away, but you can just skip all the way down the generations.
Well,
And
the car you just pointed out would certainly be the sweet spot for sure. If somebody looking for a sweet spot, I have one of those here right now. We're doing a PPI on for a client that delivered yesterday, and I drove it a little bit. Amazing car. I think it's being offered at $130,000. Blue. It's got 18,000 miles on it. I mean, that's a hell of a deal. I mean, with those kind of miles on it. And it's gorgeous. I mean, that's the beauty of the 991. I still think the 991 is one of the best
yep.
Porsche generations of the 911. Just overall appearance, that combination of size, the lines, it still ties together better than a 997 does, in my opinion. But
Especially in the back
there,
end. Especially in the back
yeah,
end.
I mean, the back end is great. Now, obviously, a 930 I mean, those are trading in similar dollars right now. I mean, depending on what kind of 930 you're talking about, but what a completely different driving experience. It's really what you want. I mean, the driving experience between that 991 and a 930, I mean, it's apples and gorillas. I mean, there's nothing even
So
remotely the same about those two cars and driving
what
experience.
would I be afraid of if I was okay? I'm listening to you guys talk. I wanted to get a new 911 turbo. I'm thinking to myself, the use case for these cars, I mean, how you're going to use them is identical. They both look gorgeous. They're both amazing. They're both modern. One's not intrinsically better than the other, I suppose. Maybe one has a warranty. What should I be afraid of in an older turbo?
Well, I mean, first of all, the 991.1 and the 997.2 Turbo S, I think are from a mechanical standpoint, they've proven to be really bulletproof. I mean, this picture here is a 2012 or 11 or 12, 2000, 997.2 Turbo S. It had like 45,000 miles. We sold it 6 months ago for 100. 105. And in my opinion, Dave's right. You buy the 991.1 turbo, you're going to spend 125 to 150 depending on color and miles. And if you really want a modern turbo but you're on a restrictive budget, you look at the 997.2 Turbo S, which is going to be closer to 100, or if you get the non-Turbo S PDK, you're now looking at probably 90, 95. And in terms of reliability, here's a perfect example. This is the one I sold to Magnus Walker. It was a 14 Turbo S, one owner. I sold it to him for 100 with 165,000 miles. And
And it just rolled over 200,
it
right?
just rolled over 200. And here's the funniest thing is he comes to my shop. This is like 3 years ago to buy the car or look at the car. I was shocked, but he loves. It was a really good value because it was the highest mileage Turbo S, but one owner. And going back to your question, Tim, the one weak link of the 997.2 and the 991.1 is the PDK transmission. Early on, people didn't realize you had to service them, and you do. But even that, I think they're like kind of like the old days. They're probably like 120 to 130,000 mile transmission if serviced properly. And to replace it is 20 to $25,000. But here's the other thing that's starting to fail with PDK transmissions, the early ones. There's these sensors on them that Porsche will not sell you the sensors. You've probably dealt with this, Dave.
No, but
Well,
we had
we have the magic guy. We talked about
yeah,
this,
Yeah, we
we
have
right?
the
talked about
magic
this on
guy.
the
Yeah.
show. But hold on, because they're going to ask us about that. Dave, can you pull up that dude's information again so we can give him another plug? Because after you mentioned this before a whole bunch of shows ago, we got so many people asking about that.
I'm not sure if I can, Tim. I've got to
While
kind of go
he's
back
while
through,
he's
but
Well,
pulling
you
it
know
up,
what?
maybe
We'll
you
hold
put it
on.
in the
We'll
notes.
we'll put it in the thank you, and we'll put it in the newsletter, right? So we'll do if you send it to me, I'll help you. I'll do the article, okay? And then we'll do the article about essentially how you can get your PDK transmissions fixed, and you don't just have to basically buy a new one from Porsche. Just give me the guy's information. I'll do the rest of the homework for you.
But so when Magnus bought this one, it had just had the PDK transmission replaced by Porsche. And he paid at the time 23 grand. And now Magnus, like Dave said, Magnus has rolled over 200,000 miles. When he came to my shop, he went for a test drive with a buddy of mine, and he came back with the most underwhelmed look because it's just fast. It's literally like a blender. You just press the button, you hit frappe, and it goes. And it does everything so well, but it's kind of numbing. And I told him he wouldn't like it, and he said I'll think about it. And the next day he called back, and I'm fully expecting him to say, "You're right, I don't like it." He goes, "I'll take it." And I remember going, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." I go, "Okay." And he bought it, and right after that, he went to Moab on a trip, which he then went back to do. And he got, I think, two or three speeding tickets driving to Moab for a Jeep event, and he fell in love with the car because he drove it in the exact scenario that car was meant to be driven, which was gobble up miles on the interstate in a comfortable way with his dog in the back.
Well,
But yeah,
so I mean, can Dave and Casey contribute if you guys have anything else? Because we got a lot of listener questions that we're going to get to. Because I'm kind of sold on that the idea of not buying a new turbo and suffering the depreciation, frankly, because I don't think the user experience from that car, that especially the one that he's showing, this beautiful oak green 991.1 turbo. I don't know if it's an S or not.
it
I
is
that
Turbo S.
Oh, that's so gorgeous. I don't know if I saw that car sitting next to that car's $200,000 less than the new one. I'm going with that one, 100%. And then
Because guess what, Tim? You could buy that, and you can have a 77 ice cream metallic that's kind of an older restoration for 150. And
that's
like talk
gorgeous.
about, I
I
mean,
like that one
imagine
too.
opening your garage door
Yeah.
going, I'm gonna just go cruise.
Which one
I'm gonna
today?
cruise around the island, or I'm gonna go set a lap record around the island.
So
Which do you want to do?
who's the buyer, Casey, for the new Turbo S? Like when those guys would walk into the Porsche shop that you ran, who was that guy? This is none of
I
us.
mean, it wavers. I mean, basically somebody that wants the fastest, most expensive thing that they build. And there's a lot of people that, I mean, one of my, the guy that I take care of his cars, he just ordered one. I signed off on the build the other day. I didn't look at how much it was because I just made sure it didn't have anything bad on it. But he just ordered that in a brand new GT3 with a CXX interior that costs probably almost as much as the car behind Paul.
What?
So it is, it's all relative. It doesn't, there's a lot of people that just have everything. And this
But
is, this is one of those things.
out of curiosity, was the purchase of the GT3 with the fancy interior predicated on the purchase of the turbo? Were those
Well,
combined? No, the guy just wanted them both. All right,
mhm.
cool.
And
Dave,
Tim,
you,
just the guy who I sold this car for, after I sold, the reason I sold this car is he had ordered the next Turbo S, which was a 991.2, which I then sold because he ordered a 992. He's a CEO of a company, and he commutes 50 miles each way to work. And for him, this is his
Nice
enjoyment.
commuter
This is
car.
a little capsule for fun. He's
Yeah.
like, I think he doesn't want to drive a work truck. He doesn't want to drive a big SUV. For him, just commuting in this missile was awesome, and that was his jam. And he had the money, and he just keeps rotating. The 991.2 Turbo S, he had it for 4 years and had over 100,000 miles on that one, and he
that's
just keeps
awesome.
cranking through them, which I
Yeah.
love, adore.
Dave,
Let me
And
let me let me plug the I found the information. The J at Speed Density Motorsports in Lewisburg, Tennessee is a amazing PDK expert. So if you've got any issues,
Oh, Dave froze. While
if
he's
you've any
unfreezing,
issues with your internet service, call Dave.
my biggest question is, in Casey, maybe you know this, is this plague or like the 997.2 and the 991.1 PDKs? And did they resolve it? Dave, you froze up there. We're just wondering, is there the 991.2, whatever's going wrong with these early PDKs, did they solve it by the 991.2? Or are they just not old enough yet to be plagued?
I mean, I've not heard of a whole lot of failure rate. to be
Neither do
honest
I.
with you. I know that it exists. I know that I had a old client with a 997 second gen GTS that had a PDK fault and it was very expensive to fix, but that was 5 or 6 years ago in a track car. So
Ooh,
I'm not sure
went
how the
modified.
application of how it was being used. And I mean, at that point, it's effectively a consumable.
I think
So
it's the sensors that are failing in these. I think they will all ultimately fail at some point, and I think per another uh, issue of this that we discussed previously, that there's going to be a secondary market that pops up to fix these because Porsche's not making or not making available the sensor pack that shows the position of the PDK. And I had to dig in deeper. I had more knowledge on this. It's not as fresh here in my old brain, but to repeat what I was saying, the guy is in Lewisburg, Tennessee. It's called Speed Density Motorsports. And if you go to his Facebook page, you can see Jay. He's very knowledgeable. I've spoken to him on the phone. He's done some repairs for us and he does them very inexpensively. So if you got a PDK with an issue, he's the guy to call.
What's inexpensive? I know that the replacement that Porsche wants to do is about 25 grand parts and labor for a new transmission.
I think this
What
is under $5,000.
Wow. Because out here in Southern California, I had a 991.1 C4S we recently sold, and he had the same problem. And there was a shop in Orange County that did it, but it took 2 months. And I want to say that was like 11 or 12 grand. And I don't know if that's because there's something more or it's just Southern California prices or what, but good to
Yeah, the
know.
markup, not dealing with this guy directly, right? If you're dealing with him, you drop the
Yep.
trans, you ship it off to him, he changes out the sensor
Somebody's margining
packs.
it. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
That's for sure
but
what's going
it's
on.
that's kind of where he's at. And again, you could take a look at his website or Facebook page, and you'll see because he's got great videos up there about what he does, how he does it. You can see these transmissions blown apart on his Facebook page and showing you exactly the sensors that are getting replaced. He does a really good job. So
So,
and we've had one done with him, so I recommend him.
guys, let's move on to listener questions. And actually, Dave, the car you have in your background, I'm going to tee up for the question that we got. I think the gentleman's name was Ricky in Instagram. Can you, one of you guys pull that up? I shared it with you on WhatsApp yesterday.
Mhm.
And
Oh, he
actually,
was
Oh,
the one that yeah, hang on a minute. I gotta get that here, or somebody get it.
yeah. So let's see. So yeah, Ricky Kaczynski on Instagram said,
Hey,
just want to tell
Ricky.
you guys that you have a great show. True car guy, 50 years old. Been into cars my entire life. My muscle car was my 39th. My last muscle car was my 39th. Had a brand new 427 crate in it, and after 6 miles, spun a bearing and said, I'm done. Got into Porsches, bought a 17 turbo. Really looking for an air-cooled car now just because I can't get away from the old stuff. But I don't want to go back to American muscle cars. I picked up more information on these cars by listening to you guys from anywhere else. I really appreciate that. Only problem is, all my knowledge is about American cars. I am a true hot rodder at heart. I don't like a whole lot of stock things. If I could ask a quick question, I'd love to get your opinion on backdate cars. How do you guys view these? I just never want to look like a douche that just got into these 911s and make a huge mistake. Love the Sonderwix 78 SC in your background, Dave. Love the podcast. All the best.
hold on. Who on this podcast looks like a douche because he has a backdated 911? I don't remember who.
That would be me. I gladly wave
Well,
that flag.
but let's dive deep into that question because it's a question a lot of people have. So if I buy and I'll just cut to it. So if I buy a G body, Dave, this is yours, right? And I want to
Sure.
backdate it, and I want no, I you know the whole thing. I want to just make it look like a long hood. I want it to blah 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 blah. What am I into that thing for? Without the purchase price of the car in consideration, what will it cost me?
Let's see. So many little side questions there, depending on
For
motor,
sure.
depending on interior, depending on what level of backdate. If we're really looking to go toward like what Albert is there, Tim, with the wide body 73 RSR style, and
Well,
if we want
Albert's
to
a
go.
72 though. Albert's not a
Correct, it
backdate.
is,
Yeah,
but it's a 73 RSR style car
right.
that it is a 72, I realize. Um, I'd say you're going to start at about 350 to 4 is where you'll start to get something done like that. Yeah, there's Albert. Um, but it's just going to depend. You could do it for absolutely $100,000 less if you just depending on the choices you're going to make along the way. And these are not including the price of the original car, so original G body. This car right here that I'm showing, which isn't really a backdate per se, it's kind of a roof style look that we did on this car, which is a combination, with the roof front and rear bumper, but then 964 side skirts on it. This was, I mean, a very personal taste kind of build, and the client wanted this. And I think it's stunning. It's an amazing car, and it's for
It's a
sale, so it's
it's a
available on my
McGuire show
website.
car. I mean, that was literally a
Yeah,
McGuire show car at
yeah,
Loop 11, and that car was on
yeah.
display the whole time. And I was hanging out by it, talking to some of your staff guys, and people freaking love that car because it was so cool and unique.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
interior on this car really sets it apart as well. It's really an amazing car.
Well,
But I
so
think getting back to the
yeah,
original question of what are you going to spend? I mean, you can spend 50 to $100,000 just on the air-cooled motor to build a 4 liter, depending on who you're doing it with, right? Some of the bigger name shops, the high dollar, well-known the Williams of the world and people like that, you can spend easily $100,000 just on the motor. But there's different levels depending on what you're trying to do. You can have a ton of fun taking a 3.2 to a 3.4, building a G body into a backdate, a
but
70, excuse
but
me,
let me ask the
86,
question.
87.
So
Say again?
if you're after that backdate look, and you guys can chime in on this as well, because this is where I was kind of going. If you didn't see the rest of the WhatsApp that I went back and forth with Ricky a little bit about, but I personally would just buy a early 70s long hood. I
You're
personally,
right. You're
because the
right, Tim.
values of those cars are undervalued, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There was a gorgeous car, a silver 73 911S without the ugly brown or black overriders on the bumpers that just sold at Mecum of all places for 200 grand, which I thought was, considering that car would cost easily 150 to restore,
Right.
that's a really good value.
No, I mean, what people don't understand about the backdate is early on, we wanted to hot rod 911s. 911s were cheap. So you just take,
Mhm.
in fact, what we used to hot rod were mostly 69 through 71 E's because the suspension would fail and they would just get parked. So you get this really nice car with an unused motor and you're going to put some killer suspension. So I would see E's and even S's all the way up to like 2002 or 2003 getting turned into RS clones. And then those prices got so expensive that the donor car was 50 grand that you weren't going to do that. And sacrilegious, okay, maybe, but it was really it was a money game. So then but at the same time, SCs and Carreras were 15 grand. So great. It's super easy. They've already got the flares on the back. You just change the bumper. You put early fenders on the front. You got a little bit of work to do to the front. You do kind of permanently change the car on the front end. And that's why people were doing it. But then, and also, I think with Singer coming about, it almost gave the okay to do it. Yes, my green car I do rallies with is an 86 backdate. I didn't want a backdate. I just wanted an 86 that was, I could just go beat the tar out of. It just happened to be the car that fell into my lap. I prefer what Dave did. And I think nowadays, the backdating is not a viable option because the SCs and Carreras that you want to backdate are so expensive. What I would rather see is something like Dave did, which is okay, you do the bumpers, you do something cool with the interior. If there's a time where that car is worth $500,000, you go put it back to stock. You're not re-welding stuff. You're not changing body panels.
I agree.
So I just think and to your point, Tim, the prices of long hoods have like just driver long hoods that you can hot rod have gotten cheap enough that why not just go take a long hood and go put flares on it and hire someone like Dave to make it cool. And you get a car that's right off the gate 300 to 400 pounds lighter.
What do you think, Casey? Is this your jam?
So I don't want to advertise for myself, but I'm working through a car right now. TPC Racing's doing the sorting for me. It's a 87 coupe. It's black. The gentleman sent it to a shop. They put on kind of IROC-ish front and rear bumpers, which takes it to look back similar to what Dave did with the roof bumpers on his car. Uh, Pulled the interior out, put in some, if I'm not mistaken, Cobra or Sparco seats, got rid of the rear seats, did some trim work on the car, and made it pretty straightforward, but at the end of the day, it's an 87 coupe with a little bit more of a rowdy exhaust on it, with great leak down, great compression. And I expect a car like that to sell in the 90-ish range, something like that. It's got 50,000-ish miles.
So
So
what
it
should we,
really,
What color is it,
really,
Casey?
it's
Black.
black,
Black.
but it's got
Black?
some,
Okay.
red trim on it. But so you really have to ask yourself, how deep do you want to go, and how crazy do you want the backdate to be? Because Paul's car, I never knew it was an 86. I always thought it was significantly older than that. But you could do something like what Paul has, or you could do something like what Dave has, or you could do something like what I'm proposing, which is just it's a 3.2 liter Carrera, which is a very reliable car. You do this one, I think it's got like a Steve Wong chip in it and a little bit of a rowdy exhaust that has like the dual outlet out the back. But something like that is obtainable, easy to diagnose if there's issues. The car, I think, has like KW suspension or something like that on it, but it does look older because it gets rid of the accordion style bumpers, but and at the same time, it's more approachable. So you have to ask yourself, how crazy do you want to go? And I think honestly, any of the three options between what Paul owns, what I I saw Dave's car in person, is insane. Like the attention to detail was great, even with my watered down old fashioned.
so
But it
Ricky,
was, yeah.
Ricky, look up, give Dave a call and ask him about the brown car that's still for sale. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
answer.
it
And
is still
just,
for sale.
yeah,
Yeah,
and talk
and
and yeah, go ahead.
go ahead, Tim.
Oh, I was going to
Sorry.
say, and talk to Dave about what all the actual costs would be. But I'll suggest to you that if you're just wanting to experience an air-cooled 911, I mean, any of these options, but just understand that probably before you make any decision, you should go out and drive a 996 GT3 first, because the 996 GT3 will deliver, I mean, shocking amount of the same experiences that the older cars will. And I'll suggest that's going to be something that you might really be happy with, especially considering your hot rodding background. All right, guys, let's go on to the next question. I'm consigning my car to a local dealer. I pulled this from you guys complaining in WhatsApp. What should be in the agreement?
Uh, well, in California, first of all, if you're consigning a car to someone in California, they need to be a licensed, bonded, insured dealer. And it's pretty easy. You ask for their dealer number. The website's public. You can just go in there and search, and it'll show if they're in good standing with the DMV. Do they have a current license? Are they an actual licensed person? The other thing, in California, they require you in writing, it should be an agreement that once the car is sold, they have to pay you within 20 days. Now, we pay people within 24 hours of having the funds cleared, and we hold the car until the funds have cleared. The other thing is, no matter what they say, and if it's in the paperwork, that they have to have the title, that's not true. And what you should do is hang on to the title until the vehicle is actually sold. They can have wording in there that says within 24 hours of the vehicle being sold, we require you to surrender the title, and that you'll be paid at the same time. And we have some clients that will walk in our office, give us the title, they pick up a check. Others just send us the title. So I would say,
Droves and droves of stories from going back from the beginning of time of
oh
people
yes.
not following that advice and giving the cars, giving the titles, and the cars being, all of that. Yeah, exactly. A lot of that happened. Do you guys have anything to add to that, or do you want to get to the next question? I'll
I
suggest that
just make sure that all the percentages and recon costs are discussed up front and in writing. That's all.
that's a really good point. I'll suggest that you go to Chat GPT, frankly, and you ask essentially do your research there for your particular state, because these guys are alluding to each state's going to be slightly different. I'm sure that's probably good advice. All right, so let's go. Do you guys want to get to segment 6 today? You want to hold that off for next week?
I think is well, no,
I
I
think
want to
we
do
should
segment six. I think the
finish on segment
997
6.
conversation should be the one that we start with the next time.
All right, let me
Yep.
write that down. I
And
agree.
and it was a great question because right now, I don't know about you, Dave or Casey, but I would say we are right now in the precipice of 997.1 versus do I buy a 997.2?
I'll tell them what the question is so I can get them geeked up about it. So what about a 997.1 versus 997.2? It's a big topic, and fortunately we have the world's expert on 997s, Mr. Casey.
Dave.
Dave, oh no, I believe PCA crowned you the official guy. The topic was suggested by a listener, especially since, all right, so we'll talk about that next week. All right, are you guys ready for another segment?
Yes.
Oh man, we are really locked in. No one would ever guess our combined age is like 400 years. All right, segment six, this or that. It just goes to show how much car nerdy we truly are that we can actually sit and talk about this crap for 2 hours.
Okay.
Segment six. Oh, newsletter pitch. Sorry. Definitely subscribe to the newsletter. Go to fullthrottletalk.com or click the link below. And Dave will personally send you, his lovely bride will personally send you a Full Throttle Talk sticker. So make sure you are subscribing to the newsletter. And yes, that's where we're going to stay connected with all of you. And then if you're already a subscriber, do participate in the Facebook group. I promised you, all three of us, all four of us will do a lot better job of that. All right. So this or that. And so what were the rules for this or that? Okay, here it goes.
This is just a one. This is a this.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
was it?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
he's right. So Paul brought up five. No,
I
you
picked
brought up
two.
two.
Well, no, but this or that isn't like we have to choose which would be like see what each person would
No.
think.
Dave was right. The theme was unlimited budget with limited garage space, one car, no limit on price, nothing older than 2021.
Okay. Well,
Unless you guys want to be here all day, which I'm all down for.
Paul,
no,
Paul's
I
ready
wanted to
to.
do both because I thought we were going to compare like who just see who would choose what. But that's
How about
fine.
we
No
propose
rules.
what we propose? Yeah, Paul Kramer rules. How about we propose what our choice was, and then at the end we vote, okay? Who wins, and you can't vote for yourself. That's
Okay.
Fair
fair.
enough.
I
That
think the
sounds
math
good.
works. All right. Dave, you go first.
Well, okay, and I probably should have been better going second, but it doesn't matter. It's all good. This was the unlimited budget. I took this particular Singer DLR, DLS, excuse me, um, build that was available. This sold for north of $2 million. And I took it because Paul was going with the roof. Having said that, I love the color. This appears to be Albert blue, same as Tim's car. It's just absolutely stunning in every way. That was one of those you don't really need to have a. I'm not worried about the outcome or the value long term. Just look at the stuff here. I mean, that's a Williams built motor. That is just a piece of art right there. I mean, it is absolute. Sorry, my hand is not. There we go. That's just a gorgeous piece right there. I mean, as a performance vehicle, what Singer has done with this particular 911, the interior has a few too many grommets for me in the seats, but beyond that, it's a stunning interior. These cars are just engineered at an amazing level. It's a gorgeous car. And if I had just $2 million burning a hole in my pocket, this would be my particular choice.
All right. Boy, it's ever so obvious that you guys are used car salesmen with the exception of Casey. He's the connoisseur. All right. So, Casey, you get to go next. Connoisseur evidenced by his choice of cars, which I've seen in real life twice.
I'm going to give you two options.
Oh,
Number one,
Casey.
because Paul is too. Car number one is a Tuthill 911K. I don't believe there is anything cooler in Resto Mod 911s than that. Is it a 2021 or later? No, but neither is Dave's, so there you have it.
Well,
But
it's built later than
if I did have to pick a car that's 2021 and later, it would be that new Gordon Murray F1 thing that they made at that came out at Car Week. I think that's about as cool as it gets. I have a client with a T33 inbound, so I'm very excited to experience that. But I don't think there is a better looking car than that new Gordon Murray thing.
And I believe one of those just resold for $5 or $6 million.
No,
I'm
not
wrong.
that one. No, they made
So the
five of those. Didn't one guy
one of them.
what?
So one guy ordered, I think, all of them, and they are auctioning one at I think the auctioning the car off at the RM Sotheby's event at the F1 race in Las Vegas. So I do believe that that's coming up soon.
And I think that'll go. I mean, I think that'll go for more than 5 million. Because, for instance,
Well, the
uh,
car's $20 million if you were to, that's
Yeah.
how what the guy's paying per car,
yeah.
or
Wow.
15 million. So
So what do we
it's
think?
going to be a lot more than that.
Do you think it'll be the most expensive new car to be auctioned,
I would
like a
assume.
$40 million car?
I mean, I mean, it's the evolution of a McLaren F1,
I
which
mean,
is about as good as a car gets.
what do you guys think the value will be after,
30, 35.
I think
Couldn't
over
even guess.
40.
Well, so you got to know the history on that one in particular. So the guy who commissioned it, he essentially had a hand in on designing it. When Gordon Murray was laid up in the hospital, you know, mending from a disease which he's done well with, that's supposedly when he had sketched all of that. So we originally in that car, if you, I don't want to be critical of somebody else's artwork, but if you look at that car compared to, say, for example, the T50 or the T30. I don't see why he didn't just start with what Casey's got behind him because it is so gorgeous, especially from the back end. I mean, look at that car.
I
Holy
mean,
crap.
I mean, the back end is the big win because this is the back end of the T50, which looks like it should be plugged into a USB port.
It looks
Just
like my French Bulldog is what it reminds me of when I see that. But have any of you guys seen these cars minus the one that Casey's got? Have you guys seen those cars in
Yep.
real life?
I
Okay.
did, and then this was actually great because I saw coming up to Newcomb's Ranch the T50 driven by Indy driver
Dario.
Dario Franchitti.
Dario Franchitti, and the same day a 911K. And so here you have two 11,000 RPM cars parked next to each other, and as cool as it was, and everyone raved about it, the Casey's right, even though it's not technically a 21, the the Tuttle car's just cool in the most understated way possible. Very Casey car for sure.
Casey, have you seen one of those cars, the 911K
Nope.
IRL? So it is literally what is astonishing is you don't realize it's truly all carbon fiber, even the
Yep.
freaking wheels. And
Yeah.
it's not, and they don't put it in your face. You have to get real close and start touching and poking around, and then
Yeah.
it's unbelievably
Well,
impressive. I saw it in an In-N-Out burger, and it's seriously just sitting there.
was it Car Week
No,
two
of
years
course,
ago?
Car Week, yeah, yeah.
So that was the car that came to our shop, and it pulls in, and my dad looks out because this is a very my dad thing. He sees it pulls in, he's like, the guy's hood's open. The typical long hood doesn't stay shut because they were sorting it out. And my dad's sort of like, what's the deal with that car? I go, how much do you think that car is, Dad? And he goes, I don't know, 100,000, 200,000. I go, that's a seven-figure car. He's like, what? And when I walked him
Did you
over
know
to
what they
it,
were selling those for, Paul? Do you know what act? Because Julie and I sat and I talked with them.
1.2,
Nope, $1 million, million
1.3
dollars, $1 million. He was making a handful
million
of
dollars.
$1 million
So,
bucks.
Golly, I'd take that over a Singer like
but what
every
was
day of
so
the
cool
week.
was like, so when I took my dad to the car and I go, look at the Fuchs wheel. It looks like an RSR finished wheel. But when you look past the RSR finish, just to inside the spoke, I go, what is that? He goes, it's carbon fiber. I go, that whole wheel is carbon fiber. The body's carbon fiber. I start pointing out all these tiny details, which is what I loved. It was like Easter eggs of just getting him like crescendo excited. And he's like, holy cow. And at the very end, he goes, but the hood was still open.
Yeah. I love your dad. That's true. And Casey, I got your point though. That it would be an interesting conundrum. I don't know what those, let's say the base price on Dave's car. I don't know what those originally cost. I think they're like 1.8 or something, or they're 2
Yeah,
million right out the
2
door.
million. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Given the choice between buying, so the guy who commissioned that car that Casey chose, the family owns the Quail.
Ah,
We went to a
that'll do it.
party after we went to a party afterwards at the guy's mansion, which was one of the most spectacular houses I've ever seen before. Rob was there. That car showed up, a whole bunch of other cars. One of the coolest eclectic collections. You would have loved it, Casey. I mean, they had steam cars and shit sitting next to that thing. It was unbelievable. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just out of curiosity. This isn't supposed to be this or that, but since Casey put both of them up, I already voiced. What would you guys choose between the two?
The Tuttle. I mean, yes, the other one's going to be $40 million, but take cash out of the picture, which I always do. The Tuttle for
Me
sure.
too.
How about you, Dave?
Same, definitely. I'm just not. I don't like the look of the super exotic kind of cars. I just isn't my jam. I like something that looks like more road going real car.
I don't know. I have
I
to
mean,
think about it. I don't have an
I mean,
easy answer.
the Gordon Murray, the special one. My only problem with that, if you want to put that picture back up there, Casey, is the wing. I just like take that wing out. Like look at the T50 and look at how it looks. It's just a prettier shape in general because of the no wing. That is the only thing I don't like about that limited edition one.
The
Delusional.
the
Sorry.
the thing that you will be shocked about when you see one of these in real life is how small they are.
Yep.
That's what's really I find massively appealing is just how small they are. And I hope manufacturers are actually paying attention to what true enthusiasts want, which are smaller cars that are not, whales. All right. So Paul, I believe those are excellent choices, Casey.
Yep, good choices.
All right, so let's see. Dave's already gone, and he actually followed the rules. Can one of you guys pull up my picture, if you don't mind?
Hold on. I don't know if I
So this is one car, unlimited budget, limited garage
oh
space. Just so everyone knows that at
Nah.
least Dave and I follow the
Nah.
rules.
We try.
I think this one
It's a
came up
Ferrari
later.
Daytona SP3. I just don't have a
Oh,
way to grab a picture of it
oh,
quick.
I'm doing it. Hang tight. It'll be
Come on,
So
just
Tim. You got to
10
get on your game here,
seconds.
Tim. If you're gonna be putting these images up, you got to get on your game.
Yeah, just go all the way.
I was honestly so busy yesterday because I had to program this stupid camera and Julie's camera, and then we had to do 4 hours of podcasts for our business. And I was just, you're right though. So
There you go.
that is the SP3, and that would absolutely be the one car I would choose, and for a whole bunch of reasons, and mostly because it's just absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. I've seen these, all over the place. The last time I saw one in real life, this is ridiculous, but it's true. We are in Monaco. We are walking down. I just saying that out loud, being I'm a poor kid from Ohio sounds ridiculous, but we were in Monaco, and a dude had bought a matte black SP3, uh, and his yacht was not all matte black, but was half matte black. So the yacht was there to basically match the car and back and forth. A little bit ridiculous, but that's the one I would choose because first of all, it's just breathtakingly gorgeous. I like how it plays an homage to older Ferraris. And truthfully, that car is going to be something that'll always be desirable. They didn't make a whole lot of them. And yeah, any Ferrari dealership can work on it. It's basically an 812 underneath, by the way.
I
So it's
I mean,
front engine?
It's
no,
mid-engine.
mid-engine.
No, 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 no.
But
Well,
Shit.
812's
It's
front
front
engine.
engine.
I was going to ask you what it's based on. Because
Is
it's a
it?
cool looking car.
I
Oh
mean, here's
God.
the only visual. It is cool looking. The only visual thing, first thing I saw was between that splitter and the rocker. See the side rocker flare out? It looks like something that was 3D printed and they didn't peel the rest of the mold off. Like when you get it out of a 3D printer or like a model kit and there's a little plastic shrapnel that's still attached to it and they haven't like pulled it out of the mold completely. And I'm sorry, I know I like to shit on Ferraris. It is very pretty, but that is the first thing I saw is like, why is there this black ring around the bottom? I know it's functional and it's Ferrari and ZR1 and all the other
Wah,
bullshit.
Cool.
wah,
Cool,
wah,
cool, Paul.
wah, wah.
Tim, what is this picture behind you right now? What are we looking at
Oh,
there?
that
This
is a
is
Cam
you
Ingram.
eyeballing a spider here, it looks
Yeah,
like.
that's Cam Ingram's place during Luft 11. That is, I guess, the only original 550, like completely original. I've heard him on a podcast talk about the story about them finding, I think it was somewhere in Europe, and that was it. And I have to say, I've seen a ton of restored 550s. I mean, everyone I've ever seen is restored, but picking over that one at Cam's place and seeing all the little crazy details was so much fun. They, I don't want to bore you guys, but that's what that is. So it's a 550. So what would that be? A 547 Type 1 motor. The Have you guys ever been to Ingram's place before in North Carolina? You
I
have,
have
Dave,
not.
haven't you?
I have not.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's not very big, but everything is so in every corner, every time you go around and look in a different room, it's like intense because you're seeing so much amazing stuff. Like his engine build room, the guy that was there wasn't the actual builder. And I asked, well, how do you know? And the four cams from the outside all kind of look the same. 547 looks like the 693 looks like the other. And then I asked the guy, again, he wasn't the builder. So how do you know by looking at it aesthetically, this one to that one? I kind of knew. and he didn't know. And Julie looked at the motor, and there's actually a little number on it. It actually said 547-1. Like, duh, just read what the, of course it's a Porsche. It's gonna have the number on it, right? Yeah. So in any
Leave it
event,
to Julie. Leave it to Julie.
All
exactly.
right, Paul, your turn.
All right, so this is a car that I remember when they launched it. It's a 2021 roof CTR anniversary twin turbo. They made 50 of these. You had to be invited to buy it. I think everyone who was invited bought one, not because they were just roof customers and it was all about the speculation. It was just a very special thing. Carbon Kevlar body, twin turbo engine. This one was done in Riviera Blue, and it had, you'll love this, Casey. I was thinking of you. Lollipop seats, which I know Casey does not care for, but I think these are probably a little more comfortable. And beautiful engine. It kind of reminds me a little more of the Singer. I would say a little more purposeful. 2,600 pounds dry, 710 horsepower, 649 pound-feet of torque. Under 3.5 seconds, 0 to 60. This one was sold at Monterey this year, RM, for $3.36 million. And going back to what we talked about, kind of like Tuttle, I think Roof does the same thing. It's just one price. I don't know what these were when they were offered in 2020, but I think they were like 1.3 million, maybe. They're a little more than the normally aspirated cars. So that is one car, the Roof CTR, and the other one is, you know, the T50, which ultimately the T33 is a better looking car. This one will be very interesting because this is going to be the first T50 coming up for sale in a very public auction format. It's going to be in Abu Dhabi coming up at I think it's RM Sotheby's. They're valuing it at excess of 5 million. I don't know. What are these new, Casey? If you were one of the few that got to
I
order
don't
them,
know.
were they $3
I
million
don't.
new?
I don't.
One,
I
2 million?
T33s I think are like 1.17, 1.8. I'm not sure about a T50.
Compared to the Roof CTR, I mean, the interior to me, yes, center seat. To me, it's just maybe it's the orange. It's just a little too McLaren for me. I would say the two things I don't like are the interior finishes and, of course, the controversial rear end. Looks a bit odd, but the front end, and look at that motor. And that motor I think is really what the motor and the front end. The front end looks like the F1 McLaren, and the motor is so Gordon Murray from a dynamic standpoint. As if you haven't watched it, Henry Catchpole does a great video comparing the F1 and the T50. But all right, so what would you guys choose?
Okay, no, we're gonna do it right. So we're gonna vote. So just so I got these right, my choice was the Ferrari SP3, and you guys were both proposing two cars. And if I got the wrong one, tell me. Uh, Casey said the Tuttle 911K. Okay. Paul saying the Roof CTR, and Dave is saying the Singer is it designed DSL or DLS or whatever the hell it is.
ELS.
DLS.
Okay. All right. So those are your guys' four choices. Okay.
Fine, yeah,
All right,
yeah.
so let's all vote. Write down what your vote is, which one, if you had to choose one, you can't choose your own.
Can't choose your own.
You can't choose your own.
Oh, all right.
Mine's easy. I take
Um,
Paul's.
Paul.
mine, not Tim's. That was super easy.
Definitely
Yeah,
not
mine would
Tim's.
be mine, but I can't pick it, so I'll choose Casey's.
All right, so we have one for the Tuttle. Casey, what's your vote?
Paul's.
Oh, you guys are going to screw up my game, aren't you? Let- okay, go ahead, Paul.
I choose Tuttle. Casey's.
Oh, did we already do that one? I already asked you.
Yeah.
Dave,
Yep.
Dave, you're next.
I'm taking Paul's CTR.
Yeah, so am I.
So I think Paul wins.
Yeah, Paul wins. Yeah, I would
Ah,
100%. I definitely would. And
it's hard to be this humble
you
when you're
can't.
this right.
But I mean, that car's just so special. It's just so
It
exceptional. And the
is.
family's so amazing. The experience is so amazing. And that's a true one-off car. It's not a resto mod or a backdate or a 964 that got Frankenstein. That's a really, truly incredible car. Yeah, that's what my choice would be. And so those things are what, 3 to 4 million?
This one says, hold on. It's sold for it's sold. This one only had 200 miles and it was number 25 of 50. So it was barely used, which I think sadly most of them are. And it sold for 3.36 in Monterey at RM, and that was including fees. So I would guess 3 million plus is where it's going to cost you to get one.
Let's do a show. Let's do a segment next week if it's okay with you guys, where we actually talk about our favorite roofs. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure, we can do that.
Casey, that good?
So
All
we could
right.
do a roof show and Alpina show, like just those two. That would be a show.
We're just going to keep our asses in the 1980s forever. Nothing's going to change. All
Sounds
right.
good to me.
So listen, that was Full Throttle Talk for this week, guys. Thank you for staying tuned. Remember to subscribe to the newsletter. That's where the party continues. Just go to fullthrottletalk.com or click the link below. And when you do, Dave is going to send you a Full Throttle Talk sticker, and you can put it on the windshield, as all of us hopefully have been doing. In the meantime, we love your feedback. Sorry we didn't get to all your questions, but we have a lot more questions that we'll get to on the next show. And yeah, submit your questions by direct messaging us over on Instagram at Full Throttle Talk. In the meantime, God bless you guys. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thanks.